So it is estimated that for every single woman, small business woman entrepreneur, every single year, you're leaving $20,000 on the table, at least $20,000. Now, how's that landing with you? And let's take a look at what's actually happening here. So across the world, we actually have 200 million women entrepreneurs. And if every single year we're leaving at least $20,000 on the table, ladies, that's $4 trillion that we as a collective are leaving on the table. That's a whole lot of impact that we're leaving behind. And so what does this actually mean for you? That means that every single month you're leaving at least $1,600. Every single week, at least $400, and every single day, at least $60. I want you to just sink in for a moment. Are you leaving money on the table? Let's get real for a minute. If you are, let's put those paws back up. Yeah. So let's actually look at how we're leaving money on the table, shall we? So you might be running and riding the feast and famine train. Do you ever feel like, it's so easy to bring the money in? Or you're kind of on the other side of that equation and it's really hard to meet month's end. Can anyone relate to this at all? Yeah. So what's happening is that you desire consistent recurring revenue, right? But you just can't seem to manage it. You can't seem to manage the money. You don't seem to have the confidence to bring it in. And there's lots of reasons why this happened. Okay, we can become addicted to our story, and I know Joanna is going to do some of the rewriting the money story stuff today. We can become addicted to the patterns, the stories, the behaviors in our life that keep us in the feast and famine roller coaster ride. Who wants to continue to ride that train? No one, right? Not me, not you. So we have an interesting experience with one of our members that came into One More Woman, and within a few months of her entering, she had a $100,000 deal, a six-figure deal on the table. And 3 months had gone by and she hadn't sent the invoice to this company. Well, why would you not send an invoice when they already said yes? Okay, so what was happening for her was she was actually sabotaging the deal because she didn't believe that she deserved that deal. It was so big, the feast was so big, she couldn't believe it was actually happening. So she wasn't actually even sending the invoice out to bring that money in the bank. And as a community, what did we do, Andrea? We sat on that call with her and we helped her own it. And 2 weeks later, she called me at 2 a.m. screaming because she's so excited because they asked her how she wanted the first $50,000. Okay? So decision paralysis can keep us stuck on the feast and famine train as well. Most of us have two lives, right? The life that we live and the life that's unlived within us. Something's not quite right with these slides. They just need to pop up just a little bit. Perfect, thank you. I love the Stephen Pressfield quote. Can anyone relate to this at all? Put your paws up. I want to see more paws. Perfect. So what else is happening? How else are we keeping money on the table? So does anyone feel like, I don't really have a hard time bringing money in the door. I can bring it in the door. I can go hustle, I can go put it in the bank, but somehow it just seems to slip right through my fingers like water. Are you playing catch and release with your money? How else? We want to make sure that we don't cheat the world of your contribution. You want to give it all you've got. If you're leaving money on the table, ladies, you're cheating the world of your impact. You're cheating the world of your contribution. Who wants to continue doing that? No one, right? No. And how else are we leaving money sitting on the table? This is one of my favorites. I am not enough. I am not enough shows up in many ways. One of our other members, she came in, and when she first entered, she was charging $2,000 for her services. And by the way, her competitors were charging anywhere from $15,000 to $100,000 for those same exact services. We sat down and looked at not only her pricing structure, but also her margins. And what I realized was there was no way that this woman was going to be able to continue to stay in business and pay her team if she continued on the way she was. She has a huge heart for impact, and she's an incredible human being. But she wouldn't have been able to actually continue on in her business to make that impact if she continued to charge the way she was. So we restructured her pricing. We looked at the gross margins and adjusted them appropriately. And you know that within a couple of months, she landed several deals that were $10,000. And today, this same woman is charging between $15,000 and $30,000 for those same services. Yeah, exactly. So are you trading time, hours, versus value for dollars in your life? Are you telling yourself that I'm not enough, and you're riding this lack of confidence train? See, the pain of not doing it is worse than the pain of actually doing it. Do you feel the pain of leaving the money on the table? Do you feel it? Because I'm feeling it for you. So how else are we leaving money on the table, ladies? We're hiding out. Now, I know that so many of you are struggling with this. And guess what? I do too. In fact, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. Earlier this year, I was presented with an opportunity to close a deal with one of the largest financial services companies in the world. And so I scrambled. I scrambled to get that meeting, and I did. And so I found myself very quickly in a hotel room in Silicon Valley preparing for this meeting. And by preparation, I mean I was researching, I was putting a pitch deck together, I was tapping into my why and what's important, and I was looking for the intersection between what's important to when we're women and where we're headed, and the intersection that matched with what's important to this company. And as I sat there in that hotel room, guess what started happening? The voice of doubt. I started feeling alone. I started feeling nervous about the meeting the next day. And here's how the doubt was showing up. It was kind of the voice of, well, why would this company, this large international company, want to do business with little old me? Because I'm just in my first year of business here. Forget about all the success we already just talked about. But this is the voice, right? So I did something about it. And here's what I did about it. You can't read this, but I'll read some of it to you. Essentially, I sent this text to 7 people in my inner circle. And I said, hey, I need some juju from you. And here's what's happening for me. I just got really real. I got really real about what I was going through, and I reached out to the people in my community for support. And as a result, you can see this beautiful text chain. As a result, this group of wonderful human beings gave me all of the wisdom nuggets, supported me and lifted me up. And you know what? I carried that into the meeting the very next day. And do you want to know what happened? I closed a 6-figure sponsorship deal with the largest international financial services company in the world, QuickBooks. And I think what's important to note about this is that I stopped hiding alone in that hotel room, right? And so today, I get to stand here in front of you and say, hey, if you want QuickBooks for free, run over to that link right now. Because I happen to believe that QuickBooks is a really great service to help you manage your finances. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sat and met with them. So if you want it for free, grab it. There it is. Perfect. Well, you can still use that link. So here's the thing. If you're paralyzed with fear, it's a good sign. You just got to go do something about it, right? It shows you exactly what you need to do about it. And so I sat in that hotel room with fear. And I could have made the decision to let it paralyze me, and I probably would have gone into that meeting, been super nervous, and maybe I wouldn't have nailed it. But instead, I decided to reach out to my community. And so I want you to just look around here, because this is part of your tribe, this is part of your community. And who in your life do you have that you can turn to and reach out to? Because ladies, are you listening? I know you have problems asking for help. Who has problems asking for help? Put your paws up. Yeah. This is like a phenomenon. It's like an epidemic. And I'm here to help change it by being an example. So I have another gift for you. Who in this room would like to save and put back into your pocket $100 a week? Really? That's it? You don't want more than $100 a week in your pocket? Yes, okay. So I have a simple tool, really simple tool. Just send a text to that number, and I'm going to give this to you. It's the Money Saver. It'll walk you through how to identify in your business and in your personal life where you are missing the money. Okay, pull out your phones right now. Pull it out. It does, yeah. Pull out your phones, because I want you to not be a statistic. I want you to put that $20,000 back into your pocket every single year. And this is just an itty bitty teeny weeny little tool that we use in One More Woman to help entrepreneurs, and yet it has such a profound impact. Every single entrepreneur that I have walked through this process has always found money. One of our entrepreneurs recently found $1,000 every single week. She saved herself, that's $4,000 in a month, okay? So I want this for you. Go grab it. There's no excuses. So a smart woman makes a mistake, learns from it, and never makes that mistake again. But a wise woman finds a smart woman and never makes the mistake in the first place. And so I stand before you saying, I have made the mistakes. Learn from me. Be the wise woman. And that's why I'm standing here today, because I want to show you a process. But first, let me tell you a little bit about my journey. So I am a 20-year career entrepreneur, and I started out as a 20-something young, beautiful business strategist telling Fortune 200 and celebrities how to run their business. I know, I still laugh about that today. And then, yes, I have raised over $100 million. And yes, I am most well known for Nibmore chocolate. And you can see the impact of Nibmore. And if you haven't tried it, you should. It's very good. And in Nibmore, I was running it as CEO. We got some serious traction back in 2009. That's when we started. And we were in a kitchen, like 2 gals in a kitchen making chocolate. We were getting some traction the first year. And I knew that when we couldn't fulfill any new orders, that I had to stop sales, which was tough. I had to stop all new sales so I can continue to fulfill orders for our existing clients so that we wouldn't go out of business. Discipline. I teach a lot about this in One More Woman. And that's the moment that I knew that even though we were in the middle of a reception, and ladies, there's nothing new about chocolate under the sun, that we were onto something. And so I knew we needed some money. And anyone who knows anything about the consumer product space, it's a money suck. It's a money suck. But it's also a beautiful thing. And so we went out and did a friends and family round. $250,000. Awesome. We're off to the races. I moved production into a manufacturing facility instead of making it by hand in a commercial kitchen. Great. Again, like nailing it. We needed more money to really grow. And so in our first venture capital meeting, ladies, brace yourself. I'm sitting across from this man with my business partner to my right. And I had spent the week before preparing massively. I mean, I was ready. I knew what we needed to do to reduce our costs. I knew who we needed to hire. I knew everything about our business strategy. I know what accounts I was going after. I had already begun those relationships. And instead of asking me about all of that, do you want to know what he said? He looked at my business partner and told her that she was too skinny. And then he talked about how his wife was too fat. And then he looked at me and said, you're just perfect. What? Like, I'm sitting there in shock, literally. My business partner was also in shock, stood up, excused herself to go to the bathroom and said, you know what, I'm Jennifer's partner, I will be here, because he tried to dismiss her from the meeting. Of course, we very quickly wrapped up that lunch and got out the door, but not without him trying to convince me to come back to his office to work. I refused, and by the time we got from, this was in New York City, but by the time we got from the restaurant to our office through the subway, he had left me 8 voicemails or text messages trying to convince me to come back to his office to work. Now, that was the day, ladies, that I put on my "this is the best I can do in business" mask. Anyone else ever done that? Yeah. Not alone here. So we kind of swept under the rug that whole experience. She didn't even want to tell her fiance, we agreed we were never going to talk about this again. Mistake. And that's okay, because I learned a lot. We went into our next venture capital meeting with a different group of people. And here's how the conversation went down in my head then. It's like, well, they're going to give us the money, and I know this deal's not good, but at least they're not hitting on us. This is probably the best that I can do as a woman in business. And so I took their money and I devalued our round in that process. Now, it's not all bad. Nibmore's become one of the top candy brands in the United States and has gone international. And I still own a huge piece of it, and I'm really excited and very proud. But ladies, I realized that if I, with all the business success that I had had, was being affected emotionally, psychologically, and therefore financially by this experience, what was happening for other women? Now, I happen to hold a belief system that women entrepreneurs are the superheroines in the world. And I think we are absolutely not tapping into one of our planet's greatest resources, and that's women. That's you. Now, why do I believe that? Well, because I think we're at a time in history where our government, our planet, our health, our environment, the list could keep going, is not doing so well. Anyone else agree with me here? Yeah. And the truth is that women have natural strengths of nurturing, just to name one. I mean, we're great connectors. We do all kinds of things. In fact, when women have the resources, the money, the support, we're freaking amazing money managers. Kevin O'Leary, one of the sharks on Shark Tank, came out in a Business Insider article last year that said, of all of the companies in his portfolio, the ones that were actually profitable were all run by women. So ladies, if we're going to do something to impact this planet, we have got to stop leaving the money on the table. Pause up. Here's the thing, and I love this quote so much. Feminism isn't about making women strong. Ladies, we are already strong. Feminism is about changing the way the world perceives our strengths. Again, we have got to step up and into our power. There needs to be a redistribution of wealth on this planet. You are the superheroines in this world, and I am committed to helping you make that happen. So I was on a plane ride. This was about 2 years ago. And I started thinking about all of my experiences, one of which I shared. The experiences of those companies that I have advised. And I thought, well, gosh, what can I do to tap into my experience, my strengths and gifts to lift you up? And so my vision of One More Woman was birthed. And a huge part of this is that I realize, and this is one of my values, truths, as Andrea pointed out yesterday, is that no one wins alone. I used to believe that I was a lone wolf. I had to do it all myself. I had to have it all figured out all the time. And that if I needed help, that was a sign of weakness. That's bullshit. It's bullshit. We all need community. We all need support. We all need to not only break through our mindset and money blocks, but we need to know how to take action to actually get there and do it. And that's what I'm all about. So I took what I had been walking, the ventures that I've supported over the years, plus my multi-million-dollar companies, and I made a system, the Millionaire Method. And I'm going to just give you the quick highlights of this today. I don't have time to get into all of the details, but I'm going to give you some of the highlights of this. So when I met Soul Camp, they had an opportunity. Does anyone know who Soul Camp is? Yeah, great. When I met Soul Camp, they had an opportunity to be incubated by Google. Awesome sauce. But they needed $90,000 to pay for the ad spend to make it happen. And you know what they said? We can't get $90,000. Where are we going to get that from? They were coming from a real place of scarcity and fear with sales, bringing sales in the door, and also bringing the funding in the door. And I turned and I looked at them and I said, no. Look at this beautiful network you have. Do you know that we turned that mindset, that abundance mindset around, and within 60 days, we had them fully funded. Beautiful, right? So here's my question to you. What story is holding you back from making money? What's your story? And I know you're going to be walked through that some today, okay? Last year, I had a fascinating conversation with a company. It's a kid shoe company out of California, actually. And these two women founders they had made $5 million in revenue, but they were down $1 million from the previous year. And when I started asking them, and this is kind of like, I'm moving you from the money makeover into the money making side of the Millionaire Method. When I started asking, okay, well, what's your strategy? What's your sales strategy look like? Well, we don't have one. Okay, talk to me about your budget. Oh, we don't have one of those either. Wow. Ladies, how in the heck did you get to $5 million? I was impressed. But they had no idea why they were losing money, why they were down $1 million. And I began to dig in. And what I realized was they weren't tracking how much money they were spending, and they weren't targeting the right audience. So they were completely disconnected from what was actually happening with metrics and numbers and the effectiveness of it. Is this landing for you? So when I began to dig in even further, I realized that they had left $100 million on the table the last 11 years of their business. Okay, that's way more than $20,000 a year. My question to you is this. Do you understand that by not measuring numbers, you are leaving money on the table? It's kind of like this, ladies. Let me ask you a question. If you were to drive a car with a blindfold on, what happens? You crash. You either kill yourself, seriously injure yourself, or end up with a major fender bender that costs you thousands of dollars. Now, not looking at the metrics in your business and understanding them so that you can be guided with them and allow your intuition to be fully informed, right? Because we want to talk about being in flow here, is like driving a car blind. You have no idea when you need to put the gas. You have no idea when you need to put the brake on. You have no idea when you should turn the wheel, or if there's something flashing red on the dashboard that you need to stop so the car doesn't break down. And that's what was happening for this company. It was blinking bright red, but they weren't paying attention to it. And the moment that they did, about 6 months later, they turned it all around. Huge. We've got to look at our numbers. So where? Where for you? When I met the Lollyware founders, I have a very special place for them in my heart. The Lollyware founders, I worked with them. They were two industrial designers out of the Parsons School of Design. And they had just this concept, beautiful concept. It's a waste reduction product. It's a cup that is meant to replace plastic. Beautiful. I helped them put their whole sales strategy together, funding plan, get the sales really going. And during this time, they were invited by Shark Tank to go on to Shark Tank. I'm moving you now into the money plan, okay? Part of the Millionaire Method. So what did we do? We sat down and I created a document with 100 questions that I made sure we answered. And then for 2 months, we prepared. And by preparation, I mean I made sure that they knew how to answer those questions fully and completely. And then I got together a board of advisors, and we all took on a role as a shark and grilled them. It was fun. It was pretty awesome. I was Barbara Corcoran. I flew to California with them from New York, and they knew, they were ready. They knew, they had it all together. And the night before, we're in the hotel room, and I sat them down on the bed because they were just botching the answers. They were just botching it. I mean, totally screwing it up. If they went on to the show like that, it would have been an embarrassment. But they knew. They knew. So what was happening? What was happening was their confidence. What was happening was a lack of belief in themselves. Because they knew the answers, right? So I sat down there with them and I said, ladies, you have got this. You just walk in there and you yes and them. If you don't know how to answer a question, you just you know what, I'm going to come right back to that. Let me tell you about this. And then you anticipate their needs. Lead them to where you think they're going to go and dazzle them. These ladies walked out onto the Shark Tank floor asking for $150,000 for 15% of their company. And they walked out as one of the greatest Shark Tank history stories, with $650,000 from Mark Cuban for 25% of their company. They had 4 sharks fighting for them. They nailed it. They just closed another $2.1 million round with Disney and Closed Loop Fund, and they are nailing it. And this, my dear ladies, is the power of preparation, because if they had walked out into that Shark Tank stage not prepared, what would have happened? None of that. None of that would have happened. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you know the numbers in your business? Be honest. 10 being, I know them. I can list them right now. 1 being, I have no idea. We're moving on to the money acceleration of the Millionaire Method here. Is this all landing with everyone? Okay, I want you to become a dominatrix in your business. I want you to grab that whip, and I want you to have the confidence to like run your business like the CEO that you are. Yeah? Yeah, heck yeah. Heck yeah. One of our other members, when she first came into One More Woman, she was already at about $1 million in revenue in her business, but was just not CEOing it. CEOing it is one of our other brand values, and it's a way of being. It's a way of standard and excellence in decision making. And she had a sales team, a national sales team, that just was not closing the deals. For 6 months, they weren't opening up this account she'd been working on and the distributor. And then we talked her through it. Talked her through it on one of our calls. Within 48 hours, I got an email back that was talking about how she went back and negotiated like a badass with her sales team. They cut their costs for 6 months, and within 48 hours had opened up that account because she grabbed her dominatrix whip and went to town. She CEO'd it, right? Completely. It was beautiful. I loved that email. So is there something you are letting slide in your business right now because you're not stepping into your power? What is that thing? What's that thing? Now, we know this lovely lady, and now I'm moving you on into the final phase of the Millionaire Method, which is really about money freedom, okay? And what's beautiful about what Joanna has done is that she's invested in her business by hiring Andrea Shillington, right, to really step into her power and make a big decision and a big shift that I think is going to be really impactful. And I said to her today, I'm really excited to support you. So where is it in your business that you need to invest to take you to the next level? Where is that? So ladies, here's my question for you. Are you one more woman who will rewrite your money story? If you are, please stand up. Will you stop leaving money on the table? Will you get intimate with your numbers so that you're not running blind? And will you CEO it and step into your power? This is beautiful. I don't think there's one person sitting.
You said women.
I did say women. I did.
Fair enough.
So turn around and look at each other, because this is your tribe of women who've got your back. This is your tribe who's going to support you. And remember, I want you to ask for what? Help. Oh, beautiful. One more time. I want you to ask for help. Beautiful. Because I want you to take that exit to millionaire road. Okay? And that's a huge part of how you get there. So instead of giving you the 1-2 how-to strategy tips, I'd much rather, how much time do I have? 6 minutes. I'd much rather open up for 1 or 2, just let's dig into your business. What's the question, maybe one of these questions that you have that you'd love to ask me, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to download some wisdom and support right now. So who would like to do that? Oh, are you being shy? Beautiful. Let's grab her mic.
Hello, can you hear me? Oh, yeah, there we go. So startup, month 3.
You're a startup, month 3.
That's right.
Okay.
So CEOing it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did 15 years of government. I've managed people. I've pushed ministers into doing things they didn't want to do. I've done all that kind of stuff. You're talking about finances. Do I know my numbers? Yes. My numbers are very simple. I spent $10,000 on product, and now I'm going to sell it. Expanding. So how do you know when it's time to do the, I guess I don't have a ton of money because I'm doing it myself, but when is the time to actually go out and ask for VC?
Okay, so certainly VC, not right now. Friends and family, maybe yes.
Yeah, friends and family don't have anything.
Okay.
I just ran an Indiegogo campaign and
So I hear this a lot.
Yeah.
I hear this all the time.
Don't have anything for me? Is that better?
Well, I don't believe you.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
And here's why. Because there's a strategy and a way to actually reach out to your network. And so maybe your direct friends or family don't have the capital to support you, but I bet you that they know a lot of people that do. Okay? And so it's about how are you actually going to reach out and connect with those people to help you fund your business. Sometimes it's not a direct ask. Sometimes it's you are bringing them on as brand ambassadors for your funding process.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't believe you.
Okay, so I just started the advisory board, so I think.
Beautiful. And I have actually some templates and whatnot for how to actually reach out and go through the whole funding process. Send me an email, and I'll give you all that. I'll give all that to you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Who else?
Hi. My question is, if you know part of the strategy for building your business is to sell it in a few years, what should I be looking for and what structure should I be putting in place now to make it profitable and attractive for it to be bought out in, let's say, 5 to 7 years?
Great questions.
Oh, sorry. Great. My question was, I'm looking to have my agency acquired in 5 to 7 years. That's my goal. And so when I'm building it right now, as I continue to grow it, what should I be doing as far as either systems or structures or just putting the foundation in place to make it attractive for it to be acquired in 5 to 7 years?
So there's a bunch of things, but I'm gonna land just at least 2 or 3 for you right now. Okay. The most important thing that an acquisition play is about cash flow. It's less about being profitable. It's more about how much cash do you have and how much exponential growth do you have in terms of potential for partnerships where it's exponential sales. Okay, so that's one. Number 2, team. Team is going to be one of your biggest assets. So what you need to do right now is get really clear about what your zone of genius is and only work in that. Do nothing else. Okay? And you need to find the team that fills in those gaps. Now, you may be sitting here saying, but Jen, I don't have money to pay them. Are you sitting here thinking that?
Might have crossed my mind, but I'm trying to stay in conscious. No, I am staying in conscious language.
Okay, so I get this a lot too. And my response to you is there are so many different unique ways in which to bring the support that you need in, whether that's an abundance partner. Andrea Shillington is my abundance partner, okay? And that woman gives me more support than I could have ever imagined, and I don't pay her a dime. How do I pay her? In my time and support to her. Okay, so find those people who have the skill sets that you need desperately, and how can you support them and get that support back? Go build an advisory team. Maybe they're going to take a piece of equity in your company to fill in the gap. Okay, so there are unique ways in which you can build that team. But mission critical for you right now is going to be building that dream team. Okay, it's part of the Millionaire Method, dream team it. And get really clear specifically about what your unique strengths are and only do that. So strengthsfinders.com or Wealth Dynamics are 2 really great tests to take to get clear on that. StrengthsFinders 2.0 and Wealth Dynamics. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right, we can take one more right here.
I run my own jewelry company. It's a handmade business.
Awesome. I love jewelry.
Thanks. I got some if you want it.
I love it.
And I've actually never considered raising any capital.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been successful on my own. Like, I'm the whole Lone Ranger thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, like, listening to her, I'm like, I don't even know where to start as far as
Yeah.
what's missing in my,
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like, maybe it's an educational thing for me to just start there. Like,
Yeah.
what's the process?
Love it.
Yeah.
I love this question. Here's why I love it. Because I get this a lot. So many women don't even think that they can go get the money. And therefore they're not, what? Asking for help, right? Stop. Ask for help. Beautiful. You just cried out and asked for help. I'm going to help you.
I'm internally crying
Yeah.
right now.
So one of the first things that you need to do is get super clear on what's the strategy for growth. How can you get from where you are right now to, well, let's say 2x, meaning double your revenue? What is it going to take in terms of hiring team, or, I mean, you know, inventory, right? What do you need? Like new accounts, you need a salesperson. What is it that you need to help you double your revenue? Okay, and is there a content marketing strategy? Like, what are some of the strategies that you need to make that happen? Get really clear about that and get really clear on the costs that it's going to take in order to make that happen. That's called use of funds. Okay, once you are clear about the use of funds, then you can take that to an investor and say, I'm really clear about my strategy. Here's how I'm going to do this. Here's why I'm right for it. Look at what I've accomplished already. Are you the right partner for me? Okay. So again, we can have a conversation outside of here for that. I can give you those same tools. Yeah. And you got this, girl. Jewelry's awesome and easy to sell. You got great margins in jewelry.
Yeah. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to wrap up here. Again, thank you. I want you badasses in here to stop leaving money on the table. How are you going to do that? Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Mwah.